Hey guys, I'm Mr. Sulu Jr. here, aka Mustached. I'm here to review the movie The Hurricane Heist. Two different premises clashing together, so here we go. Um, this movie begins in Alabama in 1992, where we see this father and his three boys going about this trip to somewhere when when a storm is approaching, they almost hit a tree but go off the road, and the boys end up inside a house while the father is outside trying to do or accomplish something. And they see that the father gets hit by a big thing that kills him. And when they look, or at least when the main character we know as Will looks towards the sky, he sees a skull in the sky, like a demon hurricane or something. Anyways, we change location to somewhere in Mexico, and then it like insta cuts somewhere else. Anyway, we learn again that Will is grown up, and he's all about learning about hurricanes, even especially after the incident, I should say. And while that is going on, we cut to this crash that is in the road, but this truck starts to move past all these people and all the other stuff, and so on and so forth. We see that that's going on while Will is fixing some satellite, and then he sends out a drone for some reason. I'm not really sure what the point of it was, but anyway. One of the characters in the truck we see is Casey Corbin, who is this like facility officer or something of that nature, some sort of guard for the safe. So Will sees that things aren't looking good back at the place, so he decides to do a U-turn. Seeing all the phones are dead, he goes into I guess it's his home where he meets his brother, whose name I never got in the entire movie, so I'll just call him Will's brother for the remainder of the movie. Or the review, I should say. So, anyways, while that's going on, this van pulls up to the bank facility and starts opening fire. And we learn that this is the heist part of the movie where these individuals, whose none of the names I've caught the attention of during the entire movie, are trying to rob the bank while this hurricane is going on. Supposedly giving them the best chance to escape or something of that nature. I'm not sure. Like, they didn't really say, like, why they were doing it during this time. It was like, oh, because no one would stop us or whatever. They never really explain it themselves, but anyway, so your typical gun out happens, and the storm at this point isn't really noticeable all that much at this point in the movie. So they start to move their way in, setting these charges, and blowing the way inside. So the thieves work their way inside, and we also learn that there are also people who are in the inside of the bank facility who are in on this theft. So we see Will boarding up some windows for some reason, even though I think that would have been irrelevant based on later things in the movie. We see that the thieves now need a code for this particular safe room where the money is stashed, and the only person who has it is Casey, who's out and about. So she's out and about in this firefight or this shootout, and Will manages to be at the right place at the right time and picks her up. So while that's going on, Will's brother is now forced to essentially, quote, help the thieves, even though he tries to, at every opportune moment, go away and cause some sort of delay. So Will and Casey join up together, and they go to one of the cops, the sheriff particularly, and he reveals that he is also with the thieves. So Casey shoots him down, and then they escape. So now there's this car chase because these other remaining thieves are chasing them with this shootout, another shootout, and Will sets up or presses this button where they lower the spikes, and this causes the car that was chasing them to flip out of control. So Casey goes to steal all of their stuff or some of it so they can keep track of what the thieves are doing. So Will talks about, and there's like little, banter between Will and Casey where he's talking about how he wants to stop storms and all that weird, like, things I'm pretty sure you could never actually stop. I don't think you can stop nature from doing what it's going to do, even though in this case it's like a nature disaster with demonic elements. Again, there was that demon thing in the storm, so I don't know. Anyway, now the storm at this point in time is actually getting more intense with more rain, and Will's trying to climb up this building where there's this satellite, and Casey's in the truck or the van that they are in, while the thieves that are there happen to spot her. So another gun out happens, and Casey helps Will pull down one of the satellites, which helps stops the hackers from advancing to the last part of the number that would get them into the vault. So Will starts throwing these disc-like things at the gunman, and he's actually somewhat successful in some of those throws, I believe. And his brother shuts down the power temporarily. So he tries to unlock all these soldiers who were there already, and I don't even know how they got locked up. I don't remember seeing how they got locked up earlier in the movie. Maybe I just missed it, or maybe they just happened. I don't know what happened, but whatever. They're there, they're inside, but the system is back online, and he's stopped from helping them. So the bad police arrive, and the sheriff tries to backstab the other thieves, and then the leader of the group, the leader thief, I'll just call him the leader thief because I don't recall his name either, shoots the sheriff, and then gets a call from Casey and Will that says that she's willing to trade up 2 hostages for the code, essentially. So she tells them to meet them at the mall, and they bring in some of the police guys who remain with the main thief. So there's that. So Casey and Will set up this plan where they shoot up the top of the window because the storm is getting to the point where where the remaining thieves get pulled upward into the sky and get sucked right up. The brother is among the thieves, so I don't know how he manages to escape, but he does. They never really show him, escaping. Again, just coincidence, I guess, or they just needed him for the third part of the movie. So they go to, and now Casey's talking about making a bomb to essentially help them get into the bank, and then that never really went anywhere, actually, if I remember correctly. So, pointless scene there. But they are in this garden area where they're collecting things to make the bomb, and the water pushes down the thieves as they're trying to track down Will and Casey. So Will ends up getting saved by his brother. Again, how the brother even survived the last thing is unknown, but he did, and now he saves Will. And the thieves now have Casey. So they threaten to kill one of the workers that Casey knows, and she gets them inside. And the leader of the thieves ends up shooting the co-worker anyway. And after that, the eye of the storm happens, which is the point in which the storm, which there's nothing in the circle-like radius, and it's really just, you see, the perimeter, kind of like how you see there, or, that's, the back perimeter of the storm, anyway. At any rate, they see that, they have Casey and want to, that being Will and his brother, when they see that the thieves still have Casey and now all the money. So they essentially work together and take a shortcut to get to the thieves. So they catch up to one of the vans that's the furthest back, and they jump aboard, both of them, to get onto the first truck. They fight their way inside. Then the brother helps with the driving as Will now goes onto the second truck where Casey is, and he takes control of that truck, and Casey essentially takes out the other guy. And for the third truck, they pincer the truck, which they end up on both sides. So I think that's the word I want to use. It's like they pincer him in from both sides, and they crash into the main thief's truck. So he falls further back, and they start to block his path, forcing him to stay behind so that he would be closer to the storm as it's picking up speed, or it's closing in toward him. So he isn't able to be at maximum speed. Therefore, that part of the storm manages to catch up to him. Starts to pull away the money, and then he sees the money get lifted up into the air, and then the back part of the truck hits the front part of the truck, and a big explosion happens, and boom, kabloom. So they see, that being Will, and Casey seeing that his brother is starting to get pulled back further because their truck is being smoked for whatever reason. So the brother manages to make it. There were two other thieves in there, so they end up being pulled behind, and then they get sucked up into the hurricane. So they're all on one truck, and they drive away. And that's essentially the end of the movie. It has a hurricane, and it technically does have a heist. The characters, as I kind of point out, they're not really well defined. The thieves aren't really well defined. The hurricane part seems to have a section in the beginning and then sort of works its way toward the end, and the heist takes up the majority of the middle of the movie. So there is that. The main character isn't that very interesting. He's just sort of a generic, sort of guy who wants to do the right thing and ends up finding the right person, and certain coincidences like the brother surviving happen to help them along the way through the movie. So there are some leniences toward this movie as well to help it move forward. And as far as trying to combine these two things, that's all I gotta say for that. I'll give this movie a 4 out of 10. I mean, I put this under a rant, but it was like one of the weaker rants I think I've ever done. It's nothing to be too mad about. Let's just say that. So that's my review of the Hurricane Heist. And if you enjoyed this review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And also make sure to check out the link in the description. It'll head you over to my Patreon page, and any donations are greatly appreciated. And until next time, everyone,